Olá, aqui estamos para mais uma entrevista com os realizadores da competição do Transmission, do Porto Pós-Doc. Hoje, agora com Justin Staple, o diretor de American Rapstar. Hi, Justin. How are you?
A pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Pedro. Thank you.
Thank you for being here in these conversations with the directors of our competition in the Transmission program. You are the director of American Rapstar, one of the 5 pictures in 5 films in competition. My first question to you, it's what drives you to the main subject of American Rapstar, that is the movement, you can call the movement of SoundCloud rap.
I was first drawn to the subject because I like to cover a lot of social issues in my documentary work. As you're probably aware, in the States, we have a lot of anxiety in young people and a lot of social issues that plague young people, not just in America, but all around the world. So my way of trying to dive into these issues and the topics at hand is through the lens of pop culture figures. I figure that people are more drawn to these topics, and I make the conversations more accessible through shining them in a light of someone that the kids listen to and the kids understand. So when these new rappers came around, like the Little Xans and Bad Babies and Smoke Perps of the world, I figured these could be used as good symbols to some of the issues that young people face today, whether it's addiction to social media or prescription drug abuse or just gun violence, as you see in the case of XXXTentacion. I wanted to tell all these different stories to try to raise awareness to some of the issues young people in my country face today. And so that's how it came about. That's what drawed it to me. And as I started collecting more and more footage, I felt like there's a unifying factor both in the sound of the SoundCloud rap, how they looked, how they act, their antics, but also some of the stuff they're talking about. And I hope that young people all around the world see this film. Thank you guys so much for programming it, and just feel like they're a little less alone out there.
Well, that's one of my questions that I have in my ideas, but you answered that right now. It's one of my doubts about seeing your movie is if this question of the mental health problem with young people, and especially with young people connected with music, it was one of the things that you have in mind since the beginning. I think it's answered. You tell it right now, and I think I don't know if you are very close to these young fellows, and also many journalists, pop rock journalists, and I felt that all the industry are very worried about this and are now hiring people when they sign these young guys, hiring people to take care of the mental health of the new signings of the industry. No, do you agree with this?
Yes, with the rising of drug overdoses in the music industry between Juice World, Mac Miller, Little Peep, Hella Sketchy, and many more, labels have started to take into consideration trying to take care of these young artists that they're signing. Often they're signing young artists out of the inner cities that don't have a big support group, and at very young ages, as young as you see with Matt Ox, 14, 15 years old. So when you're blasted into that scene and everything's handed to you and they're writing you $1 million checks and you're buying houses, often the young mind is getting out of whack. So the labels are starting to be more understanding to their artists, not just using them as a source of revenue and profit, but trying to work with them to develop their artists and grow them as human beings. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but I do believe the labels are starting to make steps towards that. And I hope my film raised awareness to those issues. Right now, with the lack of touring in the States because of the pandemic, it's hard for a lot of artists to recoup their label deals, and they're just sitting at home kind of doing nothing and losing money based on the big advance that they signed to the label. So it's even a harder time than ever with the music festivals canceled, tours canceled. And so I would encourage, if you're at a label watching this, reach out to your artists, make sure they're doing okay. Yeah. We'll be back next year, hopefully with some festivals. And yeah, that's the goal of all this, for the labels to try to understand those young kids a little bit better. Mm-hmm.
Another question I have to you. It's because in 6 months in a row, I saw two fantastic movies. One it's American Rapstar, and another one is Everybody's Everything, for sure, about the movie of Lil Pep. And I think both of them, both picture dialogue, have a dialogue very intense about all this phenomenon of SoundCloud culture. Do you, when you begin the project, you were aware of these other picture, or did you see the Everybody's Everything during the creation of the documentary, or not?
Yeah, there was about 2017 when SoundCloud rap was starting to take off. There's many different people trying to make a movie that kind of talked about SoundCloud rap. It was a big phenomenon, and people were drawn to the idea that it was like punk rock in the 70s once again.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my good friends, Ramez Silyan, who directed Everybody's Everything in
Okay.
Tangent with Terrence Malick and his team. And he first reached out to me through a buddy and wanted to collect footage that I had of Little Peep. He was compiling footage from Little Peep from all the different people who had filmed them throughout the years. That was the first time he met. He had came to my office and I handed over a bunch of footage to him. He is a great director and a great guy, and some of my footage is actually in that film. You'll see my name in the credits of Everybody's Everything. And we went to South by Southwest. I was there for something else and was at the world premiere of that film. And I just thought it was an incredible film. It moved me greatly. It moved me so much that I went back that night and wrote about a 10,000 word essay about the film that was edited down to about a 4,000 word review, and it appears on Vice.com about Everybody's Everything. It's kind of my review, and it's quoted in the trailer of the film as well, and was supported by the film and Gunpowder and Sky. And that led me to moderating a few Q&As with Ramez as well. As the film rolled out in Los Angeles, we had discussions with the fans that stuck around after the film, and I wanted to get that film out there as much as possible. A lot of people didn't believe in the power of that film, but I definitely believed with it, and Terrence Malick added such a beautiful style to it. And now you see it hit Netflix, and it played in theaters all around the world and has been a big success. So, you know, with my film, I'm trying to kind of open the discussion a little bit larger, but I'm friends with the directors of that film, and we just think there's so, I truly believe each one of those characters in mind could have their own feature-length documentary, as you saw with Little Peep, and there's mumblings of an XXX Tentacion documentary coming, and a Mac Miller documentary, and Pop Smoke and Nipsey Hussle. So the more documentaries in that space of rap documentary, the better. I hope to open it up kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where we'll have the SoundCloud rap universe and the rap music documentary. So I was certainly inspired by that movie, but I tried to make mine as different as possible, and you know, the more the better is my opinion on it.
No,
that
absolutely.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that I think both of them work together very well, and I'm pretty sure that American Rapstar will have the same way. We will follow the same way that Everybody's Everything followed. No, I'm pretty sure about that.
Thank you very much for saying, because that was such a wonderful film.
I hope. We talk, and you talk about that. That's true, and it's absolutely clear that it's a movement mostly with boys rappers. But in your film, there's a fantastic girl, Danielle Bregoli, one of the few girl rappers that from some moment of the film, for me, she takes the film and she becomes the lead character for me. I don't think you agree on this, and this is a choice, or it just happens.
Yeah, I am obsessed with Danielle Bregoli. I think she's fascinating and such a symbol of American culture, really. Her career was birthed on the Dr. Phil show when she was just 14, out of this kind of scripted tension with her and her mom. She was sent away to kind of a rehabilitation bad girls camp and all that. But out of that was found by managers and birthed this very in your face, crazy style of rap music, where she's rapping about selling pills at 12, 13 years old. She's rapping about living on her own. She's not taking anyone's advice. And she produced a lot of haters as well. Ended up on TMZ, ended up going multi-platinum, touring the world. All these things could only really happen in this moment of internet SoundCloud rap, I feel like. So she was a perfect symbol for me. And on top of that, she grew up so fast, so young. If you see how she presents herself in the film, it surprises a lot of people because she has a lot of very intellectual, deep things to say. She doesn't move with the flow, but rather she's critical of the little pumps of the world. She's critical of TikTok. You see her talking about TikTok. That was 2 years ago, before TikTok became the big political football we see today. She was thinking about all these things. She's only, I believe she was 16 or 15 in that interview. She's about 18 now. So I was so fascinated with her, and I wanted to use as much as her as I could. I'm good friends with her and her team. I DJ'd her Sweet 16 birthday party. She is just a fascinating character. The problem, though, with putting a lot of her in the film is it's very jarring for people. A lot of adult audiences get upset with me that I even give her the time of day, or let her have a talking post like that. She kind of represents the South Florida Trump-esque kind of like big America. It turns a lot of people off. So I had to be very careful about how much I was going to show her in the film and how much I wanted to. That interview you see was based on 4 hours of conversation, and she was fascinating throughout it. And a lot of people say she's the voice of reason in the film, which I thought was pretty funny. But you know, she truly is, due to her sobriety. She's on less drugs.
She's honest.
And a lot of,
no?
She's honest. She's honest.
She's honest. She's honest. No?
She's very honest. She has nothing to lose because she's genuinely cool and genuinely has grown this massive fan base just of her kind of unrelenting, in-your-face attitude. You kind of see it with Cardi B in America and Megan Thee Stallion. She's kind of the little girl version of that, and she's honest and critical. Doesn't need anyone to like her, and it reminds me of like Eminem in the early days or something like that. She's just very very cool figure, and I'm glad you responded to her.
Because it's a good comparison that you do, because Eminem was the white guy in the black world of rappers, and she's the girl in the boy world of rappers. No? So it's kind of same good comparison.
And the conversation of race with her comes up as well. She's often criticized for appropriating rap culture and black culture, and she makes the argument that she grew up in those conditions around South Florida and Broward County, and those are kind of the community that she grew up in, and that's how she acts that way. So it cracks open that big discussion as well, when she does her hair a certain way or when she acts a certain way, and kind of gave her the opportunity to speak on that as well.
Okay, so now we are almost at the end of our interview. I want to hear a little bit about you. What's your background, and what you worked in the past, some projects for the future? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a documentary filmmaker, obviously, and from North Carolina, originally in the States. I live in Los Angeles now, and I've been doing journalism and radio DJing and documentary and scripted film for about 10, 15 years now. And I started my documentary career with a character study of Tim Kinsella from the Chicago band Cap'n Jazz. That film's out now on Noisy's YouTube channel for free. It's called Everybody's Everything. I greatly encourage people to see that. And that kind of led me, I was very inspired by films like The Devil and Daniel Johnston and a lot of these really keen music documentaries, and I've worked on many throughout the years. I also helped produce the show for Viceland that plays all around the world called The Therapist, which pairs rappers with therapy and does televised therapy, which ran for 21 episodes and cracked the code on burning down the stigma of mental health in the music community. The rap community is also often known for like machoism and tough guy energy, but I want to bring a new sensitivity to that space. So that led me to American Rapstar. I figured, I always knew that I had that film inside of me. Whether it was going to be a mini series or a film, I didn't really know, but I love, the medium of documentary film and the feature length film, which is kind of slowly dying, especially with the death of music festivals. So we got to keep that alive, thanks to festivals like you. So that led me to that film. Next, I have another big film I'm working on. I'm really excited about. That's going to kind of discuss man's relationship with nature and kind of what it means to get more connected with nature and some of the different animals around us as well. It's a different lane for me, but I'm super excited about that. It's through the lens of a very famous Mexican American celebrity I can't wait to share with everyone. And right now, yeah, we're kind of waiting out the pandemic here in the States. Obviously, it was a tough year for this film and a lot of other indie films, but there's larger issues at hand that we're tackling in America right now.
Yeah.
So I hope to be back next year with a slate of different programming, maybe a return to TV with a follow-up to The Therapist, and a brand new film to share with everyone for the festival circuit next year, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, that's me. I'm accessible on Twitter, Instagram, all of that. Always open to having conversations with young filmmakers and filmmakers around the world. I'm very excited to have this film internationally, because it's one thing to have it play in America, but it's great to have it play in Portugal. We played in Greece, and a lot of those kids, they look up to American rappers because it's one of our great exports here in America, the rap scene, and we influence a lot of people there. So yeah, that's me. Making documentaries, also a photographer. Yeah.
Well, one of the issues you put out in this answer is my last question. It's we are in this situation, this pandemic situation, and I want to ask you if you have thought about what you think that will happen in the future regarding the relation to movie theaters, if we think we are going to come back to movie theaters as always, or better than, or if this situation and the proliferation of the digital platforms, VOD, will make that the relation with movie theaters will be very different in the future. Any thoughts about
Right. Yeah, I worry that theaters will become less popular. Definitely. I mean, with this film, I do a lot of online content and a lot of on-demand content. And there's something just special about sitting in the theater and viewing a film together on the big screen with the surround sound. And this was my effort to try to make it in that format. And it's just a shame to me that it'll probably be ingested on screens with these digital festivals. My thoughts is that it's going to be a long time before theaters come back in full capacity. We're looking at a vaccine maybe like mid or late next year, and there's not the movie going audience there used to be, especially for independent films in the States. So it's definitely going to be struggling. That's just the reality I have to face. It was a sad reality for me to face, because I miss film festivals. I miss going to the movies greatly here in LA, but I think we got another year of this. So I'm trying to make the better of it and make content that I think will be digestible on demand, engaging in these virtual festivals, which I was at first kind of less excited about because of the opportunity to pirate it, or the people can pause it and just leave or not finish the film, all these things that you don't get when you're locked in that theater setting.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to see the positive in it and embrace the on-demand stuff. And my hope for this film is that it'll play in some theaters overseas, internationally. I really think that kids would have it's like going to a concert. The music's really loud and fun, and kids would have a fun 80 minutes going to the movie together. But here in the States, I think the good thing is you can access a huge audience on demand, whether it's Amazon, Netflix, or just regular on-demand services. So I could open up 10 million, 20 million people, the Peep one was doing those kind of numbers, to seeing a movie and learning about these artists and issues that they would have no idea about, like the Tiger King effect. You would never know about that guy, and then you see him on Netflix, click it. So that's very exciting to me, that, brand new audience, potentially in the millions, which is very hard to get in the theater setting. So if we market it right and distribute it right on demand, that could be a big opportunity to me to open it up to people who wouldn't have otherwise seen it. Yeah.
Justin, thank you very much. It's a pity that we cannot meet here in Portugal, but maybe in another year with another film. Okay.
I'm there. Yes, I'll be sure to submit my next film as well. It's a beautiful country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pedro. Thank you.